This is breaking news from Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.
In this New Year's Eve celebration, I must thank our extensive web of community partners who will be helping us as we strive to make this a safe New Year's for everybody's celebration. A big thank you to all the local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies that have been assisting us. It is important to remember that effective public safety requires that we rely heavily on the connectivity between the police department, the fire departments, and our medical community, our ambulance companies, as well as the hospitals. We've learned a lot of lessons since 1 October. And a special thanks to all those partners, because we have spent months, essentially since last New Year's Eve, planning for this event. We simply cannot forget the efforts of the private sector, including the thousands of security officers that are out there working tirelessly, and our private sector business owners that have played and will continue to play a vital role in our public safety. For example, I want to thank Switch for supporting our mission by hosting our Incident Command Operation Headquarters, a valuable partner they have been. This year, as usual, we will have about 1,200 officers throughout the Las Vegas Strip and about 200 in the downtown area to make sure that we keep you safe. As in previous years, our officers will be strictly enforcing those ordinances that have been enacted specific to New Year's Eve. There will be links on a press release that we send out after this press conference so that you can get the exact wording of these ordinances. But in essence, there will be no glass bottles allowed on the Strip from 6 a.m. December 31st until 6 a.m. January 1st. No large bags such as luggage, diaper bags, computer bags will be allowed on the Strip. And there will be no items allowed that are larger than 12 by 12 by 6 as per the ordinances. Folks, our focus is education before enforcement. Anyone seen with these items will be stopped and warned. We will ask them to leave or take the item away, or it may be confiscated. Road closures near the Strip will begin at 6 p.m., and by 8 p.m. we anticipate the Strip will be completely shut down. As in the past years, the closures will run from Spring Mountain up through Mandalay Bay, or down through Mandalay Bay. It really takes all of us, the entirety of this community, to ensure a safe night in our valley. We really need your assistance by abiding by these ordinances. We're asking you to help us, help you keep us all safe, and plan ahead for the road closures. Together, we can help make this a safe night and a fun event for all those who are out there celebrating with us. Thank you for your time and your support. I would now like to welcome Clark County Commissioner Michael Naft.
Well, good morning. Thank you all for being here to help us inform our community about best practices and how to keep us all safe as we move into New Year's Eve. Clark County is so proud to once again, as we always do, partner with the City of Las Vegas, Metropolitan Police Department, and Switch, who has been a wonderful partner of ours in helping keep everybody safe in our community and really stepping up. Thank you, Betsy. Las Vegas is one of the most popular places in the world to ring in the new year, but public safety is and always will be our top priority. We encourage everyone to look out for one another, take personal responsibility, and proactively take actions that help limit the spread of COVID-19 and keep everybody safe. If you're sick, stay at home. If you're indoors, wear your mask. As is always the case, our fire departments will be working with local ambulance companies to staff EMS teams working on the Strip and providing medical assistance to anyone in need. Fire inspectors will be at every fireworks launch site on the Strip. The command post for the show will be staffed at the Rio Hotel with our personnel, representatives from Grucci, and our other agencies to ensure the fireworks can go off safely. Clark County's Public Works Department coordinates closely with Metro on road closures and cleanup efforts on the Strip. And our crews will unload 4,000 crowd control metal barricades early in the morning on New Year's Eve to be moved into place on the street in advance of the street closures. After the party's over, 22 street sweepers will make their way down the Strip from Mandalay Bay. They will pick up an estimated 10 to 12 tons of trash before intersections are reopened. Pedestrian safety is something that we always work to improve in Southern Nevada and Clark County. In recent years, we've added many improvements, including pedestrian bridges, fences, landscaping. We've also added 5,000 bollards at various locations on the Strip. As I say every year at this time, please plan ahead. Our prohibited items, as you heard, the ordinance will be in effect if glass bottles are banned on New Year's Eve through 6 a.m. on New Year's Day. And as you heard, large bags, strollers, coolers, and similar items are also not allowed during this time frame. It's for everybody's safety and to help our men and women in law enforcement do their jobs. Planning also extends to transportation. And I am begging our community once again to make a transportation plan before you start your party. Do not get behind the wheel of a car if you are impaired. It's that simple. There are no excuses. Lyft is offering $10 for one ride until 6 a.m. New Year's Eve day. The RTC service is free on bus routes along the Strip and throughout Las Vegas until 9 a.m. New Year's Day. And residents with a Nevada ID can also ride the Las Vegas monorail for $1 per ride all weekend. No excuses, plan ahead, and we can keep everybody safe. And again, allow our first responders to focus on what they need to be doing. I'd like to thank so much all of the city, county staff, NDOT, law enforcement, everybody who won't be able to be with their families and with their friends on New Year's Eve because they'll be out keeping us all safe as they do every year and every single day. We could not do it without this incredible partnership of the men and women you see here, but thousands and thousands of other people and other agencies who help make this economic boom for our economy possible. And speaking of partnerships, I am pleased to introduce and bring up my friend and our Las Vegas Mayor, Carolyn Goodman. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you all for being here. This is such an exciting time for Las Vegas because the eyes of the world will focus on Las Vegas once again. And as you've heard from both speakers before me, this is about safety. This is about each of us doing our own parts to make sure that we are the eyes and ears of those in law enforcement and our first responders. I know our hospitals are always ready and already there for us, but this is a time that each one of us can make a difference. And drinking and driving isn't acceptable. You've heard of all the container confinements that we are to address. And so down in the heart of the city, our Fremont Street Experience will be open at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. There's a charge of $35. We'll be having entertainment on all the stages, and it's an 80s, 1990s dance party with wonderful entertainment on each part of the experience. But the entire downtown and the Strip, they're married as one. We represent the great area of Las Vegas, and it's an exciting time for us. So we know our jobs are to be the eyes and ears, as I mentioned, and make sure that if we see something, we report it to law enforcement or the nearest officer present, and have a wonderful time. This is the beginning of 2022, and we know it's going to be a good year for everyone once again, and the key is safety first, safety second, and safety always, and that's what we're dedicated to doing and providing this. And so it's my pleasure to ask Clark County Deputy Fire Chief Warren Whitney to address you next, please.
Thank you, Mayor Goodman. And I'd also like to reiterate what Under Sheriff Darcy said. I'd like to thank all the agencies that have been planning with us for months, getting ready for this. Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, the private ambulance companies, the hospital network. So this has started months ago. I have a few points that I'd like to make from the fire department perspective. New Year's Eve is typically one of the busiest nights for first responders. We will have a robust presence on the Strip, as was stated. We will be partnering up with the private ambulance companies and also some with Metro. Our priority is to respond to calls on and off the Strip as quickly and efficiently as possible, providing the best care to our citizens and visitors. Calls outside the Strip increase on New Year's Eve, resulting in units housed in stations being busier than normal. We are encouraging visitors to the Strip to wear warm clothes and comfortable shoes, stay hydrated, and be prepared to do a lot of walking. As in years past, the fire department will deploy crews between Mandalay Bay and Spring Mountain on Las Vegas Boulevard to assist anyone in need. Clark County's Multi-Agency Coordination Center, the MAC, will be staffed with personnel from our Office of Emergency Management and other agencies to support public safety and fulfill any additional resource requests. We wish everyone a healthy and safe New Year. Thank you. Oh, I would like to now introduce Switch Senior Vice President, Betsy Fretwell.
Thank you very much. Switch is very proud to be the technology partner of all of the agencies that you see behind us. And we're excited to be a part of another safe and exciting New Year's Eve celebration here in Southern Nevada. We'd like to say thank you very much for allowing us to host the event and making sure that we have a command center that's well connected and one that is easy to access for our leaders in the public safety arena. So with that, we're just happy to be a part of the solution, appreciate your partnership, and we're looking forward to a very safe and prosperous 2022. I believe everyone's ready for questions now.
Anybody have questions? I see you looking at me. How did I know? Thanks, Ken.
Since the announcement a couple of weeks ago about plans for New Year's Eve, some has changed in other cities. Omicron has become more of a factor. Governor Pritzker in Illinois said yesterday, Omicron and Delta are coming to your party. What advice, if any, has changed about attendance and or precautions at the Las Vegas New Year's Eve event?
Well, I can speak on behalf of our agency in terms of our COVID protocols, and that we follow the CDC recommendations. Obviously, in outside areas, officers won't be required to wear masks, but indoors they're required to, except for certain circumstances, obviously having to do with safety. In terms of the public, we would encourage folks to take the proper precautions, be that vaccinations or the wearing of face coverings, and do all the things that you can do to protect yourselves. Because in reality, we want you to be happy and healthy and come celebrate this amazing city and this amazing community. There's nowhere else like this in the world, which makes it really hard sometimes when we try to compare it to other cities and states.
Last year, there were no fireworks, but still quite a few people showed up to walk up and down Las Vegas Boulevard and just enjoy the time being outside of their houses almost. Can you maybe give us some idea of what the plans were last year versus what they are this year? I'm sure it's not just as simple as, hey, let's just go back to what we did in 2019.
No, I mean, there are some fundamentals, right, that don't change. We know that we're going to have certain staffing levels to meet. We also know that even though we have this large amount of people that will end up on the Strip and in downtown Las Vegas, we still have a responsibility to police the entirety of the valley, right? And we know that Airbnbs sometimes are an issue. So we've been focusing on that in terms of gathering information and working with our various units inside the department, and have plans to have officers that will respond to these pop-up parties and in these variety of things that can happen outside the Strip. So it's not essentially that we just take the same plan and change the date. You can't do that because the community changes, expectations change, COVID changes, and all of that. So we've been focused on updating it. And we really start, as I said before, at the end of last year's celebration, we do after action reports and figure out anything that didn't work right, and then we improve upon it so that we're better positioned the following year. And we've been doing that year after year after year.
You said
1,200 officers on the Strip, 200 downtown, is that correct?
Yes.
Could you elaborate on those decision for those numbers specifically?
Well, we create a staffing model where we break the Strip down into different division-type areas with the appropriate leadership to monitor and handle the crowd and everything that goes on. And every area is a little bit different, so it's not like every section has the exact same number. But we look at prior years, and we see where the challenges are. There's some areas of the Strip, obviously, that's quite congested. Sometimes that can lead to more problems. There's other areas where it's not so much. So every area has its unique challenges, and that's why it's so important that when we assign our lieutenants and our captains into these positions, they take the time, they walk the properties, they meet with the security chief and the folks that work on the property, and they develop that plan. So it's individual.
And then what are the numbers telling you? How many people are we expecting here in town? Is there a way to kind of, I mean, your models or staffing models are
Right.
based on something. What are those
Correct.
numbers that
Yeah,
you're getting
we use-
from the airport?
Correct. We use a lot of the data from the LVCVA, so we're in contact with them constantly to determine what the occupancy rates are for the hotels, but we estimated this year somewhere above 300,000, I think would be a safe bet. I mean, it could be more, it could be less. I mean, we never really know, but we prepare for it, so. Take one more question. Go ahead.
With the new command center that opened on the Strip here, Resourceful, how will that play a role in the operations for the night?
Yeah, that plays a vital role, right? Because it gives an opportunity for people that are out there to contact our folks. And we really want to be forward-facing and make sure that we have that opportunity to serve people at that kind of a micro level, right? Where you're walking down the Strip and something happens and that we're there. I mean, I wish we had them in front of every property, right? But we don't, but we're starting to, and we have one there now, and I know we'll continue to build and grow with that type of community connection.
I've got a question for the mayor.
Okay.
Maybe 20 months ago, I can remember your comments about restrictions and masks. Here today, you're actually wearing a mask before you come to the podium. Do you have any advice for people? Should they perhaps mask up while they're outside this year? How have your thoughts changed if they have?
Because FSC in the downtown area, of course, is outdoors, we are saying to people, absolutely feel comfortable to be mask-free. But individually, if you have an issue or you're concerned, wear your mask. I think this is all about understanding good health and taking care of oneself and each other, and that's what it is. It's a question of respect. I think when you'll go through this in another year or two's time, there will be more variants to COVID. This isn't the end, and we have to get back the best we can to having normal lives. So I'm very comfortable that what we have been suggesting downtown, people are very respectful of each other, and if in fact they're sick, they're staying home, and if they have a cold or the remnants of one, they're making sure that they respect the rights of others to be healthy.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. Thanks.
You've been watching breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.